Every week we get a chance to talk with Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury, and today we also have Kevin Hanson in studio as well. Morning, guys.
Morning.
Thanks for coming in with me today, and we've got some things to talk about. Kevin, you're going to be the new jail supervisor, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Jail chief, that's right. Well, we'll let Casey introduce you in a second, but Casey, you've got some information on Sheriff Snaza from Thurston County.
Yes, I had a chance to go up on Friday. I spent most all day with John up in at Harborview.
Okay.
I'm so glad I got the chance to spend a day with him. He actually, to me, looks so much better than I would have expected him to be. And,
Sure.
And it is far, considering what happened to him. He's speaking really well. Remembered everything when we worked together over the last 20 years. The day of the incident's a little bit tougher to remember.
Right.
But I got a chance to watch him go through some physical therapy with his arm and his hand, the work that's being done there. And he is actually possibly this week might be getting to come home. I went through the physical therapy. He did some more X-rays, and he had a meeting with the medical staff up there. And he's doing his best to talk his way out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And watched him get up and walk. They offered to take him. He says, "No, I walk." And he got up and toughed it out.
Oh my!
And he sounds really good. He's going to have some scars.
Sure.
And he's going to be sore for a long time. Tough recovery, but. He told me he fully expects to be at the Sheriff's and Police Chiefs Conference in November. So,
oh my gosh,
I was really thrilled to see him and spend. Like I said, I was probably with him from about 10 in the morning till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So.
And he's been at Harborview since being moved from Idaho.
From Idaho, yeah. He's
Wow.
been in the recovery unit up there, like a physical therapy unit for intense physical therapy. So.
Well, good. Thanks for the update on that.
He wants to come back to work, and I have no doubt after seeing him up there that he'll be back.
Very good. Very good. All right, let's move on to our other guest here today. Introduce us to Kevin.
This is Chief Kevin Hanson.
Kevin, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
As you know, Chief Haugen had retired, and we were going out to look for jail chiefs. I did a little bit unconventional compared to most sheriffs. My staff is appointed, so the sheriff can choose anybody that they want. And so what I did is, rather than just me make the choice, I contacted some other people that run jails and law enforcement professionals and people that were interested in the job. I actually had them do an interview with another group of, some of them were currently run jails, jail chiefs as well, and people from the bench sheriffs and police chiefs. Sat down and did interviews and made a recommendation to me of which candidates they felt were most suited for the job of jail chief in Mason County. And the recommendation came back from that group to me for Kevin Hanson. And so we twisted his arm a little bit and brought Kevin on board. And I'll let you talk to Kevin.
Kevin, where are you from here?
Lewis County.
Okay.
I spent 25 years in there in my whole career as a jail person. I started in 1991 as a corrections officer, and I moved through the system from being a field training officer to a sergeant to a lieutenant, and then eventually I ran the jail down there for the last 6 years.
What were some of the things that you learned from your experiences down there that you can bring to Mason County?
In 2003, probably the biggest accomplishment that we did is we built a new jail.
Okay.
And we're extremely overcrowded here. We're outsourcing inmates here in Mason County.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that whole experience and being that construction liaison for the office in Lewis County will come into play here at Mason County.
Before the new jail, were the conditions similar between Lewis County and what you see now here in Mason County?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic you asked that question. You know, before I took the job, I came up and I toured here. And I walked into the doors of the Mason County Jail, and it was almost like walking back in time 17 years.
Wow.
It was, inmates, the jail's dirty, it needs to be painted, it's small, it's overcrowded, it's understaffed, and all the things that are associated with safety, are the exact same things that we've dealt with 20 years ago, 15 years ago down in Lewis County.
How were you able to get a new jail down there?
The first thing we did was the commissioners went to the public and they got the 1/10 of 1% jail bond money.
Okay.
They passed a bond. And once they got the bond passed, then, the money started flowing from the sales tax. And then, of course, we hired architects and put together a planning team and and we just moved through the process. It took 3 to 5 years to, in the planning phase, to work with the architects and everything else, and get the financing in place.
I know the staff that works in the jail is top notch, but when people hear that it is quite old and perhaps not as good looking as other jails around the area, what are some intrinsic safety concerns that someone would find perhaps in a jail like ours?
Well, the biggest thing is having too many people in there, too many inmates. I mean, the criminal justice system has far outpaced the physical means for that facility to incarcerate the amount of people that need to be incarcerated. We're spending almost $90,000 a month to outsource inmates to other counties here. So, so just financially or fiscally, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's money that we could be spending on our own facility. As far as safety stuff, staffing is always the biggest issue. And we have great people at the Mason County Sheriff's Office and Corrections. They're just absolutely outstanding people, but there's not enough of them.
Right.
And that's the problem. The commission just approved, or through arbitration process, the corrections labor contract just got signed, which gave some raises, and it upped the starting pay. So hopefully the recruitment process will be a little bit easier, knowing that they can come here and be competitive. So we're hoping to fill positions. We're 8 positions short right now.
It's fascinating to kind of hear how you've gone through a similar process down in Lewis County, and now you're here, and perhaps the process will kind of continue again with the looks at a new jail. Were you transporting at that rate, $90,000 a month, down there in Lewis County as well, transporting inmates and sending them outsourcing? That's the word I was looking for.
Back before we built the jail?
Yeah.
No, we were just stumbling all over the inmates.
Oh, okay.
We stacked them in there like cordwood. And back in the mid '90s, late '90s, there really wasn't such a thing called outsourcing.
Oh, okay.
The problem statewide and actually nationwide was that nobody had any bed space. And then in the early 2000s, people started figuring out that, hey, look, we need some more bed space to take care of all these incarcerated people. And so they started building jails. Well, then the financial crisis, hit in 2008, and then everybody started laying people off because they couldn't afford to staff the places. And of course, the first thing that they cut is staff, or the last thing. And so then you end up with not enough staff, and you have this physical space to house people, but you can't staff it. So now you've got a safety issue. So now there's an excess amount of bed space around in other facilities that built those bigger jails back in the the early 2000s, so there is outsourcing.
How much interaction are you guys going to have, taking recommendations from Kevin, Casey, taking recommendations from Kevin about the jail?
Tremendous amount. I think one of the points that Kevin made, and I know it's been really tough for some in the commission to understand, that I came back from Thurston County after being gone all those years. It was the same thing. It was like walking into Mason County was like going 20 years back in time. We were so far behind here in everything. On the patrol side, we've worked that up. We're staying there pretty competitive with everybody, but it was a matter of getting the wages right, getting the staffing levels right. And the facilities, when I first came here, were among the very, very worst in the state of Washington for the deputies as far as our offices and things. And we finally got those upgraded. And as a result of that, our staffing has stayed around. Kevin comes in from the outside as well as I came in from the outside, sees the same things. As you know, I worked here many, many years ago and left and came back, and it looked exactly the same as it did, 20 years before when I came back through the door. The jail's still the same paint in the jail that's been there over all that time. So Kevin's recommendations, as I said, I went out and talked to other jail professionals and had them do the interviews. As most sheriffs, the reason that you have a command staff and they're specialists in their areas is you listen to them. That's why you have people that specialize in a jail or specialize in patrol or specialize in a civil division. And that's what you do as a leader, is you take the advice of the people that are experts in their area and you work with it. And that's what I do. I've been able to hire, quite frankly, some of the best chiefs and undersheriff in the state of Washington are working here right now and being able to take their recommendations, and we sit down as a staff on Wednesdays and discuss issues, and if we have disagreements, we sit down and talk about how we're going to work those out, or how we're going to problem solve, and then we move forward with that. So Kevin's going to be a huge part of this moving forward in the jail. It's very much our focus. That contract being settled is going to be a major issue in helping us attract and retain, and the costs that we've had for years of hiring and sending them down the road, and hiring and sending them down the road has been a cycle that Mason County's been on for years.
Yeah.
And now we've got the patrol side pretty stable. We're trying to get that same in the jail side, and that's actually going to be a big cost-saving measure for the county.
Sure. Do you think, and I can imagine safety concerns associated with this, but do you ever open up for the public to look around the jail
Yes.
and get a chance to go, oh my gosh, this
Yes.
is what they're talking about?
I've actually walked groups through the Sheriff's Advisory Group. We meet on Thursdays. I walk people from the Sheriff's Advisory Group through there and understand the number of those people persons in that group are retired professionals in law enforcement, legal professionals, lawyers, retired lawyers, and things have walked through there with us too. They've also made some recommendations, and a while back I had media come through there and photograph, and we, here's the conditions that we're trying to get things taken care of. Now, some of those, in fairness, I mean, we had to argue big for it, but we finally got like the control panel fixed.
Right, I remember that.
That was a big issue that that ended up coming out of the sheriff's office budget, but we got that fixed because you have old toggle switches and things that were so old you couldn't even buy the panel anymore. So we did get the county did go through the process of getting that fixed, and be reminded in that a lot of times people ask me on the street about my jail. It's not my jail, the folks that are in it, but the county's responsible for that facility, not the sheriff themselves. By county law, it's a county facility, and the county's responsible for that. And so, again, we as experts make recommendations to the county on what they should be doing in those areas, and a number of those areas they did fix. But as far as staffing and outsourcing and things, we're looking at a lot of issues.
Kevin Hanson and Casey Salisbury. Kevin now with the jail, and you'll be able to see him around the area as well. Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury. Nice to meet you, Kevin.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.